Hey, 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 welcome back. Hey, listen, maybe you're at home, you're trying to teach yourself, or you have no choice, you are at home, and you're trying to not fall behind at school. Hey, no problem. I got you, man. I got you. So, let's do this. Listen, before we start, make sure you have a notebook ready to take notes. And remember, you're watching a video, so feel free to rewind it. If you miss something, play it as many times as you need to so you understand the lesson. You'll find that you'll learn a lot more right here from my videos because what I can teach you here directly in a week, it normally takes me about a month in the classroom because I got a packed class full of students. So take advantage of this and learn as much as possible. And I guarantee when you come back, you're not going to be behind at all, or you're going to be ahead. So let's get to it. All right. So today we're going to write an equation from a table of values. Now, if you're one of my students, we've been playing the silent board game. This is exactly the same thing. And if you are not one of my students and you haven't played the silent board game, don't worry about it. You see this table right here? It's the same thing, all right? It's just a table, and we try to figure out what the rule is. And that's what we're doing. In the classroom, I call it a rule. It's an equation, really, what we're finding. So let's find it. First of all, what we want to do is look at the table and try to figure out what it is growing by. What are the units growing by? So as you can see, always look at the X column. Make sure they're all in sequential order because that's going to make it easier for you. If they're not, feel free to put them in order. In this case, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they are in order. And then the outputs. The outputs are the answers, the Y values. These are the answers. 4, 7, 10, 13. And what I want to do is try to find what they're growing by. So if you look here, oops, I don't even have a pencil ready. My bad. Give me a second here, guys. Hey, you know what? I feel colorful. Let's get this one. So I'm going to find what it's growing by here. I know that they're going up between 4 and 7. So what did they do to 4 to get 7? Well, it looks like they added 3. Okay. But I want to confirm that with the other units, right? I don't just want to do one. I want to make sure that it's consistently growing by the same amount. So the other one is 7. So 7 plus 3, it does equal 10. And 10 plus 3 does equal 13. Great. So it looks like we found our growth. Our growth in this case is 3. It's growing by 3. So when we do our growth, we're going to put it into this format. Y equals mx plus b. All right. And what I want you to note here in your notes, as you're taking notes, I want you to point to the m, and this is where my growth is, right? Growth. For those of you not in my class, don't worry, your teacher's probably calling it a slope because that's the mathematical term. It's called the slope. And this here, in my class, we call it the starting point where the graph starts. And any other class, we call it our y-intercept. Okay? So make sure you take notes, write that in there because I'm going to refer to these terms as we go along. All right. So we found our growth. If I found my growth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this m and put a 3 in its place because we decided that the growth was 3. It is growing by 3. So let's do it right here. Let me get an orange. Y equals 3. And you see that x right there? That's just a variable. Just like the y is a variable, so is the x. So we're just going to write it back in there. So x plus, now I don't want to write the b in there. I want to find the b. Where is my starting point? Well, let's go back to the table. My starting point is always where x equals 0. So the value, the input of 0, where x is 0, I want to know what y is when x is 0. So since we found out that it was growing by 3, all I have to do is go backwards until I get to 0. Since my value of 1 is 4, well, I'm going to take 4 and I'm going to take away 3, and that's going to leave me a 1. So that means that for my value, I can't really fit it here, so let me just write it down here. For my value of 0, when I put in 0, my output is going to be 1 because I take this 4, I subtract 3. Remember, subtract 3 because I'm going backwards, back into 0 where this is going to be my x value 0. So 4 minus 3 is 1. And that's it. That's really what I wanted to find. Now I have everything I need for my equation. This number here, the y value, that is what goes in for b. So in this case, we're just going to put in a 1. Now in this case, if this happened to be a negative 1, I would do minus 1 instead of plus 1. So that's it. I've written my equation. Y equals 3x plus 1. Now, if your teacher asks for the 50th term, what is the 50th term? What is the value of the 72nd term, the 100th term? All I would have to do is take that term that he wants me to find. He basically wants me to find the value of that term. If he wants to find the term 100, I put in 100 for x in there. So that would be 3 times 100 plus 1. 3 times 100 is 300 plus 1 is 301, which means that is my y value for term 100, because 100 is what I plugged in, right? Pretty easy. See how easy this is? All right. Hey, we're going to do a little one that's just a little bit different, but it's the same process. We're going to do the same process, all right? Here we go. Let's see what I have down here. I have some more graphs. Okay, let's get this table here. We're going to graph them in the next lesson, so if you want to watch the next lesson, we're going to be graphing them. But for now, we're just writing the equation out of the values. So let's do it here. Now, let's look at our values. Our x value, 2, negative 1, 4, 5. Okay, they're not really in order. Would like to put them in order, but I see I have these two in order here, the 4 and the 5. When I put in a 4, I get a 21. When I put in a 5, I get a 25. So at least I know that this increased by 4, right? 21 plus 4 equals 25. Okay, well, let's see if that pattern continues. So since I don't have a 3, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back 1, right? Because this is a 4. If these were in order, then the 3 would be next. So that means to go back here, I'm going to subtract 4. So 21 minus 4. So that's going to be, what, 17? All right, so let's write it in. I'm going to write them in here because I don't have the space. Let's do them in black. So 3, for the input of 3, we said we would have a value of 17. That means that if I take 17 and I subtract 4, I would get 13. Hey, it seems to work because the next one is the second term, right? Great. So I think we found it. I think we found our growth of 4. As soon as you find your growth of, make sure you put it in there. Remember, that's my slope. So y equals 4x. All right. I know that looks a little funky there at the bottom, but that's a 4. And now I just have to find what my b value is back here, my y-intercept, or my starting point. So basically, if I'm at 2, I'm just going to go back to 0. I can go back 1 and then 0. Or look at this. I have a negative 1. Well, just add 4 to this 1. So that 1 plus 4 is going to give me 5. And that would be my 0, right? Because from negative 1, the next term would be 0. And then it would be 1, and that would be 2, 3, 4, 5. So notice, they're out of order, but I can still find them. The best thing for you to do is to actually create a new table and just put them in order there, since you're just learning it. And you don't want to get mixed up with the values that normally happens. We make mistakes that way. So now, I found what my what x equals when it's 0. So when x is 0, it equals 5, and that means that this right here is 5. And now I have the equation of this table. Huh? What did I tell you? Was that going to make it easy for you or what? I told you. Hey, make sure you stick around for next time. I'm going to show you how to take this equation, and without even creating a table, we're going to graph it. All right? Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you got that value out of this, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. All right? And I'll see you next time on Math Quest. Take care. Bye-bye.